Hello, my friend. This time, our story is about Vincent van Gogh, a brilliant painter who became famous only after he died. As you listen, I invite you to relax and imagine each part of his life. This story is told in simple English, made for learners like you who love great stories. Let's begin the journey of Vincent van Gogh. Chapter 1. A Quiet Childhood. Vincent van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853, in a small village in the Netherlands. The village was called Zundert. His father was a pastor. His mother loved nature and art. Vincent was the oldest of 6 children. Before he was born, his parents had another baby boy. That baby died at birth. They gave the same name, Vincent, to their next son. That son became the artist we know today. This gave him a strange feeling as a child. He often walked past the grave of the baby with his name. Vincent was quiet and serious. He did not play much with other children. He liked to walk alone in the fields. He looked at flowers, trees, and birds. Nature made him feel calm. His family was not rich, but they lived a simple life. They read the Bible every day. They went to church every Sunday. Vincent's parents were strict and wanted their children to be good and quiet. Vincent loved to draw, even as a small child. He used pencils and ink to copy pictures from books. He filled his notebooks with drawings. But no one in his family thought he would become an artist. When he was 11, he left home to go to boarding school. It was far from Zundert. He was lonely there. He missed his family and the countryside. He did not do well in school. After a few years, he came home again. Chapter 2. Early Jobs and First Failures. As Vincent grew older, his parents wanted him to find a good job. When he was 16, he went to work for his uncle. His uncle worked for an art dealer named Goupil and Cie. This company sold paintings and drawings. Vincent started working in their office in The Hague. He learned how to talk to rich customers. He also learned how to send and receive art. At first, he did well. He was polite and worked hard. After some time, the company sent him to London. In London, Vincent lived in a small room. He walked to work every day. He liked the city parks and visited museums. He also read many books. He was only in his 20s, but he felt very lonely. Vincent fell in love with the daughter of his landlord. Her name was Eugenie. But when he told her how he felt, she said no. She did not love him. Vincent was very sad. He started to lose interest in his work. Later, the company moved him to Paris. But things did not improve. He began to speak badly to the customers. He looked sad and tired. After a few months, the company fired him. Vincent was only 23 years old. He had lost his job and his direction. He went back to the Netherlands. For a short time, he worked as a teacher. Then he tried to become a pastor, like his father. He studied religion, but he failed the exams. Later, he went to Belgium to work as a preacher among poor coal miners. In the coal region, Vincent lived a very simple life. He gave his clothes and food to the poor. He slept on the floor in a small room. The church thought he was too extreme. They asked him to leave. Vincent felt lost once again. Now he was in his late 20s. He had failed in love, work, and religion. But something was starting to grow inside him. He began to draw again. He drew the faces of miners. He drew their houses and tools. Something inside him told him to become an artist. Chapter 3. The Decision to Paint. Vincent was now 27 years old. He had tried many things, but nothing worked. He had no tea and no money. His family did not understand him. But one thing gave him peace: drawing. In 1880, Vincent made a big decision. He wanted to become a full-time artist. He wrote letters to his younger brother Theo. Theo believed in him. He said, "If you feel this is your path, follow it." From that moment, Theo sent him money every month. Vincent began to study art on his own. He did not go to a big school. He read books about painting. He looked at drawings from great artists. He spent many hours each day drawing. He copied pictures and studied the human body. He moved to Brussels to study more seriously. He met other artists. He listened to their advice. But he stayed quiet and worked alone most of the time. He did not enjoy parties or busy places. He liked to walk outside and draw poor people, farmers, and workers. In 1881, he went back to his parents' house. There, he fell in love again. This time, it was with his cousin, Key. He asked her to marry him, but she refused. Her family did not want her to be with a poor artist. Vincent felt heartbroken again. Later, he moved to The Hague. He lived with a woman named Sienne. She was poor and had a child. She also had no husband. Vincent tried to help her. He drew pictures of her and her baby. He also learned how to paint with oil. During this time, he painted still life, shoes, bottles, and chairs. He also made many drawings of people sitting or working. His style was dark and serious. His hands worked fast, but he always felt he was learning. Theo continued to support him with money and letters. Their letters became very important in Vincent's life. In each one, he shared his thoughts, dreams, and sadness. He said, "I am seeking, I am striving, I am in it with all my heart." Vincent's journey as an artist had truly begun. He was not famous, he was not rich, but he had a deep feeling in his heart. He believed art could show the soul of simple people, and he was ready to work hard. Chapter 4. Life in the Netherlands. In 1883, Vincent left The Hague and moved to the countryside in the north of the Netherlands. He wanted to live close to farmers and nature. He stayed in a small village called Drenthe. The land there was flat and quiet. The people were simple and hard-working. Vincent painted the fields, the houses, and the people. He walked through the rain and cold with his sketchbook. He watched how the light changed in the sky. He painted with dark colors, brown, gray, black, and green. These colors matched the hard lives of the people around him. But life was not easy. He had little money, his clothes were old, his health was getting worse. Still, he worked every day. He said in a letter, "I want to paint people who work, people who feel." After a few months, Vincent returned to his parents' home in Nieuwennen. He lived there for 2 years. He used a small room as his studio. In Nieuwennen, he painted many pictures of weavers, workers, and farmers. He often visited their homes and fields. One of his most famous works from this time was The Potato Eaters. In this painting, a family sits around a table eating potatoes. Their hands are rough, their faces are tired. Vincent wanted to show their honest, simple life. He said, "They have earned their food through hard work." Not everyone liked this painting. Some said it was too dark, some said the faces were ugly, but Vincent was proud of it. He felt it showed real life. He said, "I want to show what it means to live with little." Vincent also made many drawings. He drew farmers in the field, women sewing, and men digging the earth. He studied their movements. He wanted to understand the shapes of their bodies. He believed every hand, every face, had a story. In 1885, something sad happened. His father died suddenly of a heart attack. Vincent was deeply shaken. He stayed in Nieuwennen for a little longer, but the pain in the house was too much. He needed to leave. He needed a new place, a new light. So he left the Netherlands. He traveled to the city of Antwerp in Belgium. There, his life and his art would begin to change. New colors were waiting for him. Chapter 5. Paris and the Colors of Change. In 1886, Vincent moved to Paris to live with his brother Theo. Theo worked at an art gallery. He knew many artists in the city. Vincent was now 33 years old. He had worked hard in the Netherlands, but few people knew his name. He hoped Paris would bring new ideas. Paris was full of life. There were cafes, music, and art everywhere. New artists were painting in bright colors. They were called Impressionists. Vincent saw their work for the first time. Their paintings looked fresh and full of light. This was very different from his dark colors. Vincent started to change his style. He began to use lighter colors like blue, yellow, and pink. He painted flowers, people, and streets in new ways. His brushstrokes became faster and more alive. His paintings looked brighter and more full of feeling. He met other artists in Paris. He talked with Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, Camille Pissarro, and Paul Signac. They shared ideas and showed each other their work. Vincent liked these talks, but he often felt nervous around people. He was friendly, but he also needed time alone. During this time, Vincent also studied Japanese prints. He liked the clean lines and simple beauty. He said, "I envy the Japanese artists. They paint quickly, just like a flash of lightning." Their style helped him to become more free in his own work. In Paris, Vincent painted over 200 works in just 2 years. He painted portraits of friends and strangers. He painted sunflowers and gardens. He painted the view from his window and the streets around Montmartre. He was full of energy, but also tired inside. Vincent shared an apartment with Theo. At times, they argued. Vincent's mood changed often. Sometimes he was happy. Other times, he felt very low. But Theo stayed close. He gave Vincent money and love. He believed in Vincent's talent, even when others did not. After 2 years, the noise and busy life in Paris became too much for Vincent. He wanted peace and more sunshine. He dreamed of the south of France. He said, "I want to go where I can see bright yellow fields and blue skies." In 1888, Vincent packed his things and took a train to Arles. There, he hoped to find light, peace, and a new way to paint. Chapter 6. Friendship and Conflict with Gauguin. In early 1888, Vincent arrived in Arles, a small town in the south of France. The sky there was wide and blue. The sunlight was strong and golden. The fields were full of yellow flowers and green trees. Vincent felt excited and full of hope. He rented a small house with yellow walls. He called it the Yellow House. He wanted it to become a place where artists could live and work together. He painted the rooms himself. He filled the house with color and light. Vincent worked hard every day. He painted flowers, trees, the local streets, and the people of Arles. He painted a famous series of sunflowers in a large yellow vase. He used thick paint and strong brushstrokes. His style was full of life and energy. He wrote to Theo and said, "I want my paintings to look like sunlight." He painted fast, often finishing one painting in a single day. In just 1 year, he created more than 200 works. His paintings became brighter and more emotional. Vincent was also lonely. He missed speaking with other artists. So he invited a painter named Paul Gauguin to come live with him in Arles. Gauguin had a very different style. He liked to plan his paintings slowly. He used strong shapes and colors, but not in the same way as Vincent. In October 1888, Gauguin arrived. At first, things were good. The two artists talked, painted, and went on walks. They shared meals and ideas. Vincent felt happy to have a friend in the house. But soon, the two men began to argue. Vincent liked to paint fast, with feeling. Gauguin liked to think more and plan each picture. They talked late into the night, but their words became sharp. Vincent's feelings grew heavy. His mind began to suffer. One evening, they had a serious fight. Gauguin left the house and went for a walk. That night, something terrible happened. Vincent broke down. In deep sadness, he took a knife and cut part of his left ear. Then he gave it to a woman at a nearby house. The next day, the police found him at home. He was weak and bleeding. He was taken to the hospital. Gauguin left Arles and never came back. Vincent's dream of the Yellow House was over, but the paintings he made there would one day become world famous. Chapter 7: The Ear Incident. After the terrible night with Gauguin, everything changed for Vincent. He was now alone in the Yellow House. His body was weak, and his mind was not well. He stayed in the hospital in Arles for several weeks. The doctors tried to help him. They gave him rest and care. The people in Arles were afraid of him. They thought he was dangerous. They said he should not live in the town anymore. Some neighbors signed a paper to send him away. Vincent felt sad and confused. He did not want to hurt anyone. He only wanted peace and a place to paint. During this time, he wrote many letters to Theo. He said, "I feel like I am going crazy, but I still see beauty around me." He still wanted to paint. In fact, even in the hospital, he asked for brushes and canvas. Painting helped him feel calm. Theo came from Paris to visit him. He brought warm clothes and money. He also told Vincent some good news. One of Vincent's paintings had been shown in a small art show. A critic said kind words about it. Vincent was happy, but he still felt weak inside. After some time, Vincent was allowed to leave the hospital. But he could not return to the Yellow House. He moved into a small hotel in Arles. He tried to paint again, but he felt alone and tired. His thoughts were often dark and full of fear. In one painting from this time, he showed his own face with a bandage over his ear. He looked serious, with a quiet pain in his eyes. This painting became one of his most famous self-portraits. It showed the world how much he suffered, but also how strong he was. His painting style continued to change. The colors were still bright, but the shapes became softer. He painted trees blowing in the wind and rooms full of stillness. He was trying to hold on to life through his art. The town people still did not want him near them. So Vincent made another decision. He wrote to Theo and said, "I need to be in a place where people understand me. I want to go where I can heal." That place would be a special hospital in the countryside. In 1889, Vincent left Arles. He went to a place called Saint-Rémy-de-Provence. There he entered a mental asylum. He hoped the peace of nature and the care of doctors would help him find his light again. Chapter 8: In the Asylum, Art and Struggle. In May 1889, Vincent arrived at the asylum in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence. It was a quiet place in the hills of southern France. The building was old, with stone walls and tall windows. There were gardens, olive trees, and fields nearby. Vincent had a small room with one window. He could see the sky and the fields outside. At first, he was very tired. He had many sad thoughts. Sometimes, he could not speak clearly. Other times, he felt afraid. But when he was calm, he painted. The doctors saw this helped him. They allowed him to use one of the hospital's rooms as a studio. Vincent began to work again. He painted the gardens, the trees, and the flowers outside. He also painted the view from his window. He could not leave the hospital right away, so he looked at the world through the glass. He painted what he saw, and also what he felt. One of his most famous works came from this time. It was called The Starry Night. In the painting, the sky is full of forged spinning stars. A bright moon lights the sky. Below, there is a quiet village and a large, dark tree. The painting looks peaceful and wild at the same time. Vincent said, "The night is more alive and more colorful than the day." Vincent also painted flowers in vases, small rooms, and long stone hallways. He painted a group of irises with bright purple petals. He painted olive trees full of movement. He used strong brushstrokes, as if the wind was moving the leaves. These paintings showed beauty, even in a place of sadness. But Vincent's health still went up and down. Sometimes he had strong attacks. He could not speak or paint during those times. He stayed in bed and waited for his mind to clear. These moments scared him, but he never gave up. As soon as he felt better, he picked up his brushes again. He also copied the work of other artists. He looked at pictures by Rembrandt and Millet. He made his own versions in color. He called this translating them into his own language. It helped him learn and grow. He said, "I feel like I am speaking with these great painters." Theo kept sending him art supplies and letters. He also sent news from Paris. Vincent missed his brother, but he was thankful for his help. He wrote, "Your words are like sunlight to me." Vincent spent 1 full year in Saint-Rémy. He painted almost 150 works during this time, but in his heart, he wanted to go somewhere new. He felt it was time to leave the hospital. He wanted to live in a quiet place, close to his doctor and close to the countryside. In May 1890, Vincent left Saint-Rémy. He took a train to a small village called Auvers-sur-Oise. There, a new chapter of his life would begin. Chapter 9. Starry Nights and Final Days. In May 1890, Vincent arrived in Auvers-sur-Oise. It was a small village just north of Paris. The town had green fields, gardens, and quiet streets. Vincent came to be near a kind doctor named Paul Gachet. Dr. Gachet loved art. He also helped people with mental illness. Theo had found him for Vincent. Vincent stayed at a small inn. His room was tiny, just under the roof. He had a bed, a small desk, and a window with a view of the fields. He spent most of his time outside, walking, looking, and painting. The fields in summer were full of yellow wheat and bright red flowers. He painted quickly, with strong emotion. In Auvers, Vincent felt better at first. He painted more than one picture each day. He created over 70 works in only 2 months. His brush moved fast. His colors were bold. He painted wheat fields, cloudy skies, village streets, and farmhouses. He painted the garden of Dr. Gachet and made a famous portrait of the doctor with sad eyes. He also painted something new, large fields under stormy skies. In one painting, crows fly over a wheat field. The sky is dark. The lines in the field are thick and wild. Vincent wrote that this painting showed sadness and hope at the same time. Even with all this painting, Vincent still felt alone. He worried about money. He thought he was a burden to Theo. At the same time, Theo was also having a hard time. His baby was sick. He was tired from work. Vincent wrote, "I feel like the storm inside me is getting stronger." Dr. Gachet tried to help, but Vincent felt that no one could fully understand him. He was proud of his work, but also afraid. He asked himself, "Will people ever see what I tried to show?" One day in late July, Vincent walked into the fields with his painting gear. But this time, he had something else with him: a small gun. In the quiet of the field, he shot himself in the chest. The wound was serious, but not quick. He did not die right away. He walked back to the inn, holding his side. The owner of the inn found him and called a doctor. They sent a message to Theo. Theo came as fast as he could. Vincent lay in bed, calm and tired. He said, "I hope I did not make things too hard." Vincent died 2 days later, on July 29, 1890. He was 37 years old. Theo sat by his side. He held his hand until the very end. At his funeral, Vincent's paintings were placed around the room. Sunflowers, wheat fields, and starry skies surrounded his body. The people in the village stood quietly. Many did not know who he really was. But soon, the world would begin to understand. Chapter 10. His Death and the Mystery Around It. After Vincent van Gogh died, Theo stayed in the village for a few days. He visited the grave often. He sat quietly and thought about his brother's short but powerful life. He wrote, "He was not just a painter. He was a soul full of fire." Theo took care of Vincent's paintings and letters. He wanted the world to know his brother's story. But sadly, Theo's health was also getting worse. Only 6 months after Vincent's death, Theo also passed away. He was buried far away in the Netherlands. Years later, his wife made sure Theo's body was moved next to Vincent's. Now, the two brothers rest side by side. After Vincent's death, many people started to look at his work. His sister-in-law, Jo van Gogh Bonger, played a big role. She kept all the letters and paintings. She showed them to art lovers and galleries. Slowly, the world began to see the power in his work. Over time, people realized that Vincent had changed the way we see art. His brushstrokes were full of feeling. His colors were full of life. His paintings were not perfect pictures of the world. They were windows into his heart. Today, his paintings are in museums all over the world. Starry Night, Sunflowers, and The Bedroom are just a few of the most famous ones. Millions of people visit the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam every year. They stand in front of his work, quiet and full of wonder. But one part of Vincent's story still brings questions. For many years, people believed he died by suicide. That was what the first reports said. But later, some experts began to ask, did he really shoot himself? Or was it an accident? Was someone else involved? There is no clear answer. Some people say a young boy with a gun was playing in the field. Others say Vincent took the blame to protect someone else. Still, many believe he was sad and chose to end his pain. The truth may never be known. What we do know is this: Vincent van Gogh lived a life full of struggle and beauty. He made over 2,000 pieces of art in just 10 years. He never became rich or famous while alive. But now, he is one of the most loved painters in history. His story is not only about art. It is about feeling, hope, and never giving up. He once said, "What would life be if we had no courage to try anything?" And so, the journey of Vincent van Gogh continues, not just in museums, but in the hearts of people around the world. Thank you for listening to the real story of Vincent van Gogh. His life journey, full of light and shadow, now lives in every painting he left behind.